Money makes the world go around, the world go around, the world go around. Money makes the world go around, it makes the world go round. So goes the song from Cabaret. And if money does indeed make the world go round, it's making us dizzy at the moment. What with the cost of living and inflation, it's all about counting the cost. While the hope is that the government will help, it will have to be better than the age-related addition to state pensions, which, as we discovered just yesterday, following Harry's recent special birthday, is set at 25p per week, which incidentally is almost exactly what an Israeli shekel is worth today. Well, it's said that the Jewish people are people of the book, but it would be equally true to say that we are a people of the numbers, or people who count. Numbers are significant in the Torah, in rabbinic literature, in Jewish mysticism and folklore. As a people, we seem to be fascinated by numbers. The fourth book of the Torah is called, in English, Numbers, and it begins with a census of the Israelites. Gematria is the numbers game used by rabbis over the centuries to explain the inexplicable and to unlock secrets in our texts. For example, because Hebrew letters have a numerical value, each word can be expressed in numbers. So the word chai, and chet is 8 and yud is 10, has given the number 18 significance. Sometimes gematria produces amazing results. For example, the tzitzit on a talit consists of 5 knots binding 8 strings, which gives us a total of 13. 13 is also the final winding on each tzitzit, as well as the numerical value of the letters of the word echad, 1. Are you with me? Therefore, wearing a talit with fringes, according to Jewish tradition, affirms God's oneness in multiplicity. Well, if you've read about the Bible codes, you'll appreciate just how bizarre this can get. In our Torah portion today, we are instructed to count 6 years of sowing the land, then the 7th for resting it, and every week to count 6 days for work and the 7th for rest. This morning's extra text for Shabbat Shikalim offers advice on census taking in ancient Israel. Counting people is an exercise fraught with danger. Generally, the Bible severely disapproves of the counting of people. Indeed, it's only permitted following a direct command from God. Exodus 30 suggests that the half-shekel payment is made in order to avert the catastrophe that would come upon the people as a result of the census, the head count itself. And in fact, when King David counted his people in 2 Samuel chapter 24, we are told that pestilence struck the land and 70,000 people died. Well, you may have heard this story about those lovable fools from the town of Chelm. One day, the Rabbi of Chelm was running with his minyan through the village down to the river for a swim. The 10 Chelmites threw off their clothes, jumped into the river, and splashed about for some time. As they got out, following proper health and safety rules to make sure they were all there, the rabbi counted each one in good, traditional Jewish fashion. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, which of course is how he got around the problem of counting heads. The rabbi counted again and again, but no matter how many times he counted, he ended up with either 9 or 11, either 1 too many or 1 too few. And he was beginning to get very frustrated when a passing stranger saw what was happening and realized the problem. "It's very easy," he said. "Have everyone line up in a straight line, and I'll go to the back of the line and I'll kick the tuchus of the last person, who will kick the one in front of him, who will kick the one in front of him, etc., etc., and we'll count the number of owls." The rabbi and his minyan did as the stranger said, and there were found to be 10 men exactly. "Extraordinary," exclaimed the Rabbi of Chelm. "Fantastic that someone from outside of Chelm, a place renowned for its wisdom, should find the solution. Excellent, thank you." And the rabbi returned to the village with his followers, still scratching his head to figure out how he had managed to count either 9 or 11. Well, the moral of the story? If you count yourself twice, there will always be one too many. And if you don't count yourself in, there will always be one too few. In our Shabbat Shikalim text, by each person donating the same amount, half a shekel, it's possible to get the correct total of those contributing. In addition, this type of contribution is of direct benefit to the community, and indeed is used for the upkeep of the tabernacle, and later the first and second temples in Jerusalem. We can take a profound message from the fact that the Israelites had to contribute the same modest amount, rich and poor alike. Though such a system wouldn't really work today as the sole means of support for a community, its message is still relevant and important, that each of us, and we would of course read the women and children into the count, is of equal worth before God, and every individual needs to bear some responsibility for the community. While the Torah clearly knows enough about human nature to know that each member of a community will contribute to it in different ways, it also acknowledges the value of each and every contribution. Well, this exploration of the Shabbat Shikalim reading reminded me of another story, not from Chelm. It's a true story about the value of every human life. It's a story told by Dr. Rachel Naomi Riemann in her book, My Grandfather's Blessings. And she writes, I can clearly remember something that happened when I was in 3rd grade. I was walking with my mother on a downtown street in New York City, pushing through crowds on our way to I no longer remember where. I had just been put into a special class at school because I'd done well on an IQ test, and my new teacher had told us that being in her class meant that we were brighter than most of the people in the country. As we moved through the hurrying crowds, I remembered this and I was filled with an 8-year-old's outrageous pride. I told my mother that my teacher had said that I was smarter than most of the people around us. She stopped walking immediately, and she knelt down so that we were at eye level with each other. As the crowd flowed past us on either side, she told me that every one of the people around us had a secret wisdom. Each of them knew something more about how to live, about being happy, about loving than I did. I looked up at the people passing by. They were all adults. Is this because they're all grown-ups, Mama? I asked her, taken aback. No, darling, it will always be that way, she told me. It's how things are. I looked again at the crowd moving around us, and suddenly I wanted to know them all, to learn from them, to be friends. This lesson became lost among the many others of my childhood. But shortly after I became a physician, I had a dream that was so powerful that I remembered it, even though I didn't understand it. In this dream, I am standing in the threshold of a door. I seem to have been standing there for a long time. People are passing through the door. I cannot see where they are going or where they have come from, but somehow this doesn't seem to matter. I meet them one at a time in the doorway. As they pass through, they stop and look into my face for a moment, and they hand me something, each one something different. They say, here is something for you to keep, and then they go on. I feel enormously grateful. Perhaps we are all standing in such a doorway. Some people pass through it on their way to the rest of their lives, lives that we may never know or see. Others pass through it to their deaths and the unknown. Everyone leaves something behind. When I awoke from that dream, I had a sense of the value of every life. Every person has a unique and special contribution that only he or she can give. And every contribution we make, however large or small it may appear in our eyes, is considered of value. As the Chelm story tells us, each of us is important in our own way. And we serve neither ourselves nor our community by imagining our worth is more than another's, or by imagining that we are worth less. Everyone has something to offer, and like the half shekel, every contribution counts. Well, there are times in our lives when we are required to stand up and be counted, when we are needed by our families and friends, the community, by the Jewish world, by the society and the world in which we live. And that is happening right now, of course. And we're all aware of the need to support the war-torn people of Ukraine and those people whose lives have been turned upside down by the devastating earthquakes around the Turkey-Syria border. Whether we give £5 or 5,000, every penny helps. And indeed, every contribution, whether of currency, time, or effort, makes a difference. The Jewish community usually responds generously and speedily in such instances, and I feel sure that is the case now. In the Babylonian Talmud, Rav Yehuda, son of Rav Shmuel bar Shelat, said in the name of Rav, Misha nichnas Adar, marbim b'simcha. When Adar arrives, joy increases. As the month of Adar begins next week and of course brings Purim in its train, may our actions count and may we contribute towards bringing some happiness and joy to people who are in such great need. Hey Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Amen.